It's the things that you do every day, every week that are going to get you to success. It's not the flash in the pan strategy. It's not spending $1,000 one time on Facebook ads. You might get some success from those things, but it is really the small things that you consistently do over time. Welcome to Begin As You Mean to Go On. If you're a woman of color with a mission-driven, service-based business and you want to increase your income and your impact without burning out in the process, you are in the right place. I'm your host, Kronda Adair, recovering WordPress developer, content marketing coach, and CEO of Carvel Digital. I've survived being a Black woman in the tech industry, getting fired for culture fit, and gone on to build a thriving business. I want to show you how to work hard once to create systems in your business that continue to work for you as you grow so that you can not just survive, but thrive and live your best life. Let's get it going. Hello, friends. I am so delighted to be back sharing fresh words with you on the podcast for season 2. As I record this, we have just passed 2,000 downloads in just 3 months since launching this podcast. So I want to first say thank you so much. Thank you for listening. Thank you for sharing. And thank you for your 5-star ratings and reviews, which we have 38 of them as I record this, like this one from Melissa Reed. Melissa says, changed my thinking. Listening to Kronda has challenged me and got me out of a huge rut in my thought process. I recently moved overseas and started a new business that has represented a major and necessary professional shift. I get bogged down in minutia sometimes, and listening to Kronda helps me keep my eye on the big picture. She's the real deal. Thank you so much, Melissa. And I hope to be enjoying more of your 5-star reviews. But if this is your first time, if you're new with us, go ahead and just listen to this entire episode and then decide if it was valuable for you. And if it was, go ahead and say thanks by leaving that 5-star rating and review. I'll give you that invite at the end of the episode. All right. So today I want to talk to you about focus. Now, for 2020, I had a word of the year. Some of you might do a word of the year. And if you do, I would love to hear about it. Come on over to the Service CEOs Facebook group and tell me what your word is. My word for 2020 was inspire. And I think I did pretty well with that word, just based on the feedback that I've gotten from people in my audience and friends and family and clients. I did a lot of great work in 2020. We grew our team in 2020. We really had our glow up in terms of our revenue. And a lot of great things happen. And I know a lot of people do a year in review episode. I was busy getting my rest on. I took the holidays off. I did not do much at all. I watched a lot of Hulu and Netflix. And so this will not be a year in review of 2020. But if you want a taste of that, I would suggest going back and listening to the 90K in 60 days episode, because I do go into great detail of the year in business up until I think about September. So that's as close as you're going to get to me looking back at 2020. I'm really excited to look ahead. I think a lot of us are happy to leave 2020 in the rearview mirror. I did do I think it's called the Year Compass, yearcompass.com. I'll link to it in the show notes. They have a great little download if you want a process and a ritual to kind of look back on your year and plan the future year. That's a great one, and it's free. So my word for 2021 is focus. I've been hearing a lot of entrepreneurs talk about focus, and I've been hearing a lot of very successful entrepreneurs talk about focus because that is what you need to actually succeed. And as I push on towards one of my goals is to make this $1 million business, I'm not shy about that. I've done a lot of work planning exactly how we're going to get to that milestone. And focus is a huge part of that. And I think when you look at successful entrepreneurs, you see them focusing on one main offer or very few main offers that all make sense together, right? They're not out here in these streets trying to sell you everything. They're not cat wrangling on Tuesday and then lawyering on Wednesday. They're focused. They're focused on their audience. They're focused on their offer. And so I think that's a great word for 2021. So I want to chat with you today about specifically some things that I'm going to be focusing on and some things that you might want to focus on if you're aspiring to grow your business this year. The first thing you might have noticed is there's a new intro to the podcast. And one of the things that I have really been thinking about probably for the last 4 or 5 months is my audience and where do I want to focus? Who is it that I really want to serve in my audience? And so I have made the decision to really focus my marketing and my efforts on women of color. If you're panicking because you don't fit that description and you think we can never work together, I will set your mind at ease. That's not what this means. When you look at the facts of how things are right now, I live in Portland, Oregon, which is a super white city, one of the whitest large cities in the US. And therefore, my business has a lot of white folks in it. I'll just tell you right now, like I love every single one of my clients. I have reached that dreamy phase of business where I truly love getting up in the morning. I love going to work for my clients. Our coaching call is literally the best hour of my week when it comes to business. So no shade to my white clients, but I really have been thriving, especially with everything that has gone on in the last year, in the last few years. I really am craving more connection and more spaces with women of color. And so to get that in my business, I need to focus on that. I need to focus my message. I need to let women of color know, like, hey, I'm out here, I'm doing this. I want to show you how to do this. And so that's going to be my focus for the year. If you're white and you're listening to this, if you're a dude and you're listening to this, if you feel like, oh, I don't fit into that, so there's no place for me, think of it like a Tyler Perry movie. Anybody can go see a Tyler Perry movie, but it's not necessarily for you. It's not even necessarily for all Black people. Like, I won't even get into, there's Black people who love Tyler Perry, there's Black people who hate Tyler Perry. You stand where you stand and no shade either way, right? But he's making those movies for a specific audience. And if you want to go and enjoy them, then you're free to do that. So this content is still going to be relevant for everyone. You're still going to get tons of value from listening to this podcast. You can still come work with us. If you're down with where the focus is and you want to support that, then come on in. So that's what I want to say about that. And I'm really excited, especially because as an automation service provider and as someone who teaches folks systems, like those are the things that really give a business owner relief. It is really hard going through the phase of business where it's all on you and you're doing everything and you're still trying to hold up your personal life. And now we're in a pandemic and the job of homeschooling the kids is mostly falling to women. It's mostly women who are falling out of the workforce. Like there's just so much put on us. And so creating systems and automation is one of the ways that I can contribute to lessening that burden, right? I can teach you how to let the robots take some stuff off your plate so that you can focus on what you need to focus on and you can relax and you can rest. So that's what I want to contribute. And I especially want to contribute it to Black women and women of color because traditionally, like just, the weight of the world has been on our shoulders. We got to, save democracy. We got to like do all these things. And I just want to give some relief. That's my focus when it comes to my audience. Now, when it comes to our offer, our focus is the same as it's been. It's on Content Bootcamp, and that is our flagship offer. And I think one thing that happens to entrepreneurs a lot, it's a very classic thing, is that we have shiny object syndrome when it comes to our offer, and we're always chasing the new thing. And then we wonder why we can't have success. We wonder why we can't get momentum. And you can't do that if you don't commit and you don't focus on one offer and you don't go deep. So we're doing a lot of PR work and trying to get media placements this year is something that we're working on. And one of the questions that I had to answer recently was like, what is new and exciting that you're working on in your business? And there's not a lot of new stuff. This podcast is probably the newest thing in the business that I'm really excited about. But the things that I'm excited about aren't new. They're going deep and focusing on how can we improve our offer? How can we improve the client experience as people go through bootcamp? How can we improve our systems and get more efficient? Those are the things that excite me because y'all, those are the things that make a successful business. This is where I'm going to invite you to, if you are prone to shiny object syndrome, if you're like my Vishla and you're like chasing every squirrel that runs by in front of you, like I'm going to invite you to focus and really ask yourself, what is it that puts me in my zone of genius, in my happy place that I could do this work and I could look up and hours has passed and I don't even notice. And if you find that thing, like just focus in on it and commit to it and it will give you the return. So, as far as our offer, we're just focused on making Bootcamp better. And when people come in, I have some recorded lessons that people go through. And I've been wanting to redo them for a long time. And that's probably going to happen this year. But people still love them and get a ton of value out of them. So, one of the things that we're going to do with that is I'm not going to like scrap everything and throw the baby out with the bathwater. I'm really going to take everything out and lay it out and look at it, and then look at like, is this still useful? Has this changed? Are these strategies outdated? Do I need to create some of these new lessons? And we're going to do it not all at once because that's going to be overwhelming, but we're just going to do it one step at a time and say, okay, let's take this piece and let's revamp this piece. Let's look at our onboarding and see how could it be better? How could it be smoother? How could we answer the questions that people tend to have before they even ask them? Those are the kinds of things that I'm focused on to really make the client experience better. So I'm going through my big 3 pillars, right? Offer, audience, messaging. When it comes to messaging, one of the things I'm really proud of is I've actually been saying the same things for many, many years now. And when I have Facebook memories come up with old business posts that come up on my profile, I'll be like, oh, yep, that was true then and it's true now. And I'll often repost it. I really love that consistency because one of the pillar of my framework is foundations. And the things that I teach are foundation principles of marketing that it doesn't matter what strategies or what tactics you're using, the principal foundations are going to see you through whatever is going on. So in terms of messaging, you're not going to see much of a change in that. I'm still going to be preaching asking better questions and focusing on systems and things like that. So with messaging, we're just going to keep on keeping on. And then when it comes to our team, which has grown radically in the last probably 7 months, we're really just focused on getting those systems dialed in. I hired a new operations manager. She's amazing. She's really come in and taken control of our ClickUp and getting that organized and systemized and getting task templates in place. And I hope that at least some of you are nerding out with me about this stuff because again, these are the things that make successful business. And a lot of people think, oh, that's boring. It's not sexy. I hate doing that. You don't have to be the one to do it, but if you don't get it done, you're not going to enjoy that freedom and ease in your business that you're probably looking for. So when it comes to the team, we're just really focused on making sure everybody has what they need to do what they need to do in their role. And we're just making progress with that every day. And I often say when you start this process, it's like when you clean out your closet and you dump everything out and then you have this big mess on the floor. It's felt like that for a couple months. Like, oh, my back end is just a mess on the floor. But now it's starting to look really good. It's starting to be organized. And I'm really excited about that. When it comes to my goals, it's no secret that I want to build $1 million business, but money is not where I'm putting my focus because the way that I want to grow my business is by focusing on outcomes. The way that I have this goal structured is that we want to help 150 people, 150 business owners get to at least 20K months. Usually when folks come into boot camp, they're in the sort of 5 to 10K range, sometimes lower, and they just want to get that steady 15 or 20K months. And I've helped a number of people successfully do that and beyond. So that's really the focus in 2021 is not just selling to people and like getting money. There's a lot of people out there who have really amazing marketing and really crap delivery on the back end, and they're making a ton of money. But if you talk to people in those programs, they're not getting the results and they're not getting what they signed up for. So as I reach this goal, I want to do it in a way that really lifts up other women of color. And so that's why I've structured the goal in that way. If you're listening to these podcast episodes and you're thinking, oh, is this for me? Like, could it help? Just come to one of our master classes. There is no pressure sales going on here. It's really kind of a slice of what bootcamp is like. That's really my focus. That's what gets me excited every week is when clients come to the coaching call and they share their wins, and it's not always about money, we're not just focused on that, but the wins that they're sharing are about the habits they're creating that are going to create the success in their business. So that's what I'm focused on when it comes to goals, is what are the outcomes that I can help people achieve in 2021. So if you have a goal to grow your business and you're looking for some help, I would love to help you. On the personal side, just some things that I'm wanting to improve in 2021 is just finances. My relationship with money has not traditionally been the best. I've really gone through some harrowing times when it comes to finance and money. And as a Black woman in business, I have been under resourced, as many of us tend to be. So this year, I'm really creating habits to focus on my money and my finances and tracking where things go and just being more intentional and trying to craft a practice. So I'm getting intimate with some spreadsheets and some Airtable bases, and I'm really excited about what that's going to do, because of course what you focus on grows. So I'm really excited for that habit. One of the tools that I really like from one of my fellow entrepreneurs is the 5 Minute Bookkeeper. So I'll link to that in the show notes. It's from Nicole Barnum, and she has this amazing spreadsheet that you can just go to every day and record how much money came in, record how much money went out. And just doing that every day will create awareness and help you get focused on, hey, I need to make more sales, right? I got a lot of money going out, but not a lot of money come in. So I will link to that in the show notes because I think it's an amazing tool. And then self-care. A lot of stuff goes into self-care, exercise. We recently got an exercise bike. It's not a Peloton. We're not one of the cool kids, but we got an exercise bike and I actually really like it. I actually own 5 bicycles. So it's not that I can't go ride outside, but with the pandemic, having a high energy dog and just like all the things, having the bike has been really nice to just be able to like walk into the other room and get a nice workout. And they have the really supportive trainers. So I've been liking that a lot more than I expected. And then I'm continuing to add like massage and floating. One of my goals is to really, really figure out my food. We eat pretty well, but it takes up a lot of time. And this is definitely the year that I need to get a chef and just make sure that I have healthy food. I remember I went to work out one morning. I got up early and got my workout in, and then had to get into taking care of the dog and doing all these things, and then didn't end up eating for a long time and was hangry, and it was not cute. So I'm really looking to get support this year just in my home life so that I can focus on business, but also make sure that I have rest, make sure that I have downtime, make sure that I can read some actual paper books, which is a thing. Like my mom was a librarian. So for me not to be reading at least a book a month it's not a good scene. So those are some of the things that I want to get back to and focus on this year. And then the last thing that I'll share is I'm just focused on habits. And that is our theme for February inside of Bootcamp, is we're going to focus on habits, because it's the things that you do every day, every week that are going to get you to success. It's not the flash in the pan strategy. It's not spending $1,000 one time on Facebook ads. You might get some success from those things, but it is really the small things that you consistently do over time. And a lot of people who come into boot camp and who come to me, like one of the major problems that they have is they know they should be creating content. They know they should be putting their marketing out there, and they're doing it, but it's sporadic and they need to become consistent. And so habits is something that I'm focused on for myself this year. And it's going to be the focus of our bootcamp trainings for February. So if you're thinking about coming in, now would be an amazing time to set yourself up with some great habits for the year that are going to carry you through, and they're going to really affect your revenue and the way that your business looks at the end of this year. So that is what I'm focused on this year, y'all. And I would love to hear, what are you focused on? Do you have a word of the year? And what are your goals this year? And how are you going to get there? And if you're not sure, then come on over and come to a masterclass, come hang out in the Service CEOs Facebook group. Let's have a conversation, because there's really nothing I love more in business than giving people aha moments, whether it be in this podcast or in a Facebook Live or just in the DMs, like chatting with people. I just love giving people that breakthrough, like Melissa shared in her review that I read at the top of the podcast. I hope this has been informative for you. We're going to get a little more practical as we go on through these episodes. And I have some great women of color business owners lined up that I'm going to try to get on the podcast. And I'm also just recorded with a great podcast host, Veronica Jans from Business Laid Bare. Her podcast is The Business Whip, and we just recorded a fire episode. So there's a lot of really cool stuff coming, and I hope to see you soon. All right, until we meet again, don't forget to begin as you mean to go on. If you've been listening to these episodes and thinking, I wish I could get personalized guidance for my business, I have good news. Content Bootcamp is my 12-week business bootcamp where I help you get clarity on the big 3 pillars of marketing: your audience, your offer, and your messaging. But this is not just another online course. During our time together, we guide you through crafting a strategy that is specific to your business and then taking the actions that are going to bring you the results you want. You have complete access to get help with whatever is keeping you stuck, and my clients will tell you I don't hold back. Emma says, Kronda is a Swiss Army knife of brilliance, always whipping out exactly the right tool exactly when I need it. I'm making some big moves in 2021, and she is a huge part of why that's happening. If you need someone to help you with your online business, hire her. She is my favorite decision of 2020. To get started, go to carveldigital.com/bootcamp and tell us about your business. You'll get an invite to our next masterclass where you can get a taste of what Bootcamp is like and get all your questions answered to see if Content Bootcamp is right for you. See you soon.